Hello, it's the Dispatch Podcast EP6 here on Your Experience Guide. I'm Scott, this is Stephen, this is Craig. Let's go straight to Craig. How did you get into coasters, mate?
Oh, what a question. It's a question that's pretty deep for me, I think. As you know, I love my football. I think everybody knows I love my football, but my dad was football through and through. West Bromwich Albion fan, even though I'm Aston Villa. Sorry if that offends anybody. But my dad passed away in 2012, and obviously then the Smiler was being built. And so we needed to find something to do that what kept me away from football. I mean, I took the girls up when they was younger, and they just wasn't bothered, so we needed to find something else. So I first started looking at these the plans for the Smiler thing, what was coming there, what was coming next. It was SW7, I think. Was that correct?
That's correct,
SW7?
Yeah.
And it spiraled from there, because then it took me away from football and something like that, which I do love, and I'm finally getting back into it now. As you probably see some of my social posts, how much I love football. But yeah, it was probably from that. Even though years gone by, we used to always get to Blackpool every summer to the late night ride. I think it was 11:30. Was it the fireworks used to go off the day?
Yeah.
Something like that. It was a long time ago. I'm going back to the late 70s, early 80s. I am now. It's how much we love Blackpool. And especially my mum, as you probably see, #MotherToy around. She used to go to a street called Dean Street, which is still for a bed and breakfast, and she used to go there in the early 40s, just during the war and just after the war as well. And she had a lot of time there. That's why Blackpool has a really, really special place in our family, but that's how much I probably got into it right off the kick-off, you know what I mean? It's very deep.
I can't believe you've mentioned Dean Street. There's literally a connection there. When
Really?
I first started going to Blackpool without my parents, I used to stay in a hotel on Dean Street.
Oh, well, there you go.
Stephen had issues there once.
Oh, really?
we had some lighting issues, didn't we,
Yeah.
in the hotel?
Ended up with broken phones and all
Oh,
sorts.
God.
Yeah, it was an interesting place. It ended up being somewhere that we actually stayed a lot, because that first time we went, it actually got a lot better after.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's interesting. When you said Dean Street, I was like,
I can't believe that. That's mad.
really?
Small
the
world.
one with the church on the corner?
Yes, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It literally is a small world.
We even went, I think, probably a couple of visits ago. I took my mum, because obviously she's not that mobile. She's 86 next month, and she loves Blackpool. She absolutely adores it. And we took her down that street, and she couldn't remember which. She couldn't remember the few hours.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's changed loads, but she couldn't remember which one. But I have got a photo somewhere, which I'll try and find out, of herself and her brother sitting on the steps in the early 50s, I think.
Yeah.
Of that road, and it's lovely to go back there, and especially lovely for my mum as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll bring Stephen in, because you wanted to be kind of like the James May of this podcast and talk about the news. So obviously this is actually not going out for a couple of weeks. So by the time this goes out, there'll be even more news that we're not covered in this one. But at the time of filming, we think that King Dakar is going to be blown up today, basically, which is a really odd thing to say about a roller coaster.
There's another thing about that park is we were supposed to be going to New York and doing that park
Yeah.
in 2020, COVID, and I missed out on King Dakar as well as
Top thrill.
yeah, yes. So well, that's life, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know.
So obviously, as you've got into parks, you've got more involved with, obviously, myself, Pleasure Beach Experience, as it was, now
Yeah.
Attraction Source as well, and now us as
Yeah.
well, Your Experience Guide now.
Working for a few yourselves and Chris and Towers Times as well. The good bunch of people. Chris Belvin Bailey's an absolute lovely man. Honestly, a gentleman. And like I say, when you go into this theme park stuff and the coasters and amusement parks or whatever you want to call them, you look at some people. I think we met. I think it was weird. You was walking the big one.
Yep.
And me and my brother had just walked it, hadn't we?
Yeah.
We'd just come down. It was the first time we'd met each other. And we had a good rapport then, didn't we? And we come from 2017, yes.
But what was funny is, I always remember this, is we actually briefly met in Wetherspoons before you did Walk the Big One.
Yes.
And I remember, literally, as you were talking, our food came, and Stuart, your brother, isn't it? He was like, "Come on, Craig, leave them alone." And I was like, "No, it's fine, let's chat." And and I remember Stuart was like, "Come on, we've got to get to Pleasure Beach," because obviously you were doing Walk the Big One.
Yeah,
but
that's right.
obviously, finished, and then we went up. And I'd done it before, but I think the group was me. I think it only ended up being 3 of us because we were supposed to have Mullet with us.
I think was Becca with you.
It was Becca and
Matt.
Mike.
Mike.
Yeah, so it was me, Becca, and Mike did it.
Yes.
But we were supposed to have Mullet as well, but he was late because of the M6, so he did it in the next group after. But that was before Icon was built. So you looked down onto Pleasure Beach and there was just footers everywhere. Yeah.
Actually, I showed some of those pictures on my timeline. I think the other day. I think something like that. So the difference, how it is that park's changed so much over the years. Though, even without Icon, all the things that's changed. I mean, the big one for me was 1994. I mean, I'd just come out of the army then. I just do remember it so well because it's such an iconic coaster. Unbelievably iconic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just, and still is to me this day. I mean, people can call it whatever they want. Somebody else's pain is somebody else's pleasure. It's always the same. But it's such a brilliant coaster. And look, Sir Geoffrey, put that park on the map with that, man, honestly.
I was just thinking of the old comment of there's something for everyone in Blackpool.
God.
I suppose there is with the big one, isn't there?
Yeah.
But it's true, though. There is something for everyone at Pleasure Beach.
There is.
There is something for everyone in Blackpool as well. It depends what you're looking for. But we'll move swiftly on from that.
Definitely.
Stephen's Stephen's disgusted here. Told you it was going to be free flow with Craig involved.
You've got to have a laugh. That's what you've got to do.
Absolutely. So, for you, what's it like? Because we did a video a couple of weeks ago now about how roller coaster enthusiasm has evolved. So, for you, how do you think it's changed? Because obviously, even since you got involved, it has changed a bit.
Oh, I think, obviously, when I got on board with Towers Times and Traction Source, I think it was, I want to say 2020. It was just after we was coming out of COVID, I think.
Yeah.
And like, I've obviously known yourselves before then, but you see so many creative young girls, boys, loads of people just putting their all into things and they're just not getting nothing back. But you don't want to stop doing what you're doing because somebody else says it's not good or whatever. You're not getting the followers or whatever. Do it because you enjoy it. You know what I mean? But the way it's changed now is it is become like that many people who are trying to do the same thing.
Yes.
You've got to try and find your own niche, do something a little bit different. Do you know what I mean? That's what I can see is people just try and get on board and just we'll do all this. Oh, they've done that. We can do that as well. We can, but just try and do your own little niche thing, trying to find a little gap in the market, as Del Boy would say.
Yeah. The thing I find with being like a content creator is obviously your phone keeps flashing.
I do apologise. I'll put that out of the way. Sorry.
It's all right. I thought I was in a strobe maze for a minute. Might be back at Tully's.
I was having flashbacks of the sanctuary.
Never stops my phone.
No, I know the feeling, to be fair. But if I could sort of give any advice to a content creator, I'm nowhere near the biggest in terms of numbers, but I enjoy what I do. I always enjoy it, and I wouldn't go out and do a video if I wasn't going to enjoy it. It's like even though when we first started vlogging, I genuinely hated doing it.
I remember those days. Sorry to talk over you there, honestly. I just remember I always remember you did a sit-down thing once and you spoke into the camera, and I really remember it. I don't know why it sticks out in my mind. And you said, well, we're going to do this, and do people want to see our vlogs? And we've got to be back 2017, maybe?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I just remember that. And I've messaged you, because I think I might have had your number then. I go, just crack on, believe in yourself, keep doing it, and, well...
It was Butty's idea. It was Mike's idea, because Stephen will back me up on this. I've made coaster videos since I was like 16. I used to make like roller coaster video edits to like say Blackpool Pleasure Beach. I'd do like a 5-minute video set to music. I'd put it on YouTube, and then it'd be like because back in the day in Pleasure Beach, people don't remember this, but in like 2006 they didn't care if you filmed on the ride. So you could turn up with a big camcorder and just take it on, and no one questioned it. Obviously, that changed in 2007, but like people just used to turn up, didn't they, with big handheld camcorders, and they'd be filming a POV, and you'd just see people's hands going like this on the first drop of the big one.
How big was them camcorders back then?
About that big.
Yeah, you won't want to drop one of those.
No, exactly. But it's like, I think obviously it got stopped because so many people were doing it, and then people were seeing it on YouTube, like all the different videos that were being just handheld filmed.
And it's dangerous as well, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I could see why they put a stop to it. But we were doing videos like that, weren't we, years ago? And then I sometimes think now, why did I not turn that channel into PBE?
Yeah.
Because I'd have loads of old Pleasure Beach footage on there from like 2004, 5, 6 onwards. That channel's gone, unfortunately. I deleted it when I started this one.
Well, you do think that, I mean, sometimes you do things like, I mean, like say, I've been going to parks for God knows how many years, and we never mobile phones wasn't around, was they? Like back then. I mean, you got the old. I mean, I've got loads of like cinematic films given to me by my nan, God bless her, and I've showed you, I think, a couple of them, haven't I? Like with the what's the see, I'm rubbish with names. I do apologise. Names are right, don't know names of people. At Blackpool Pleasure Beach, the skyrocket.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah,
I've got that from like 1960s. There's a picture of my mum and dad and my sisters. Everybody thinks it's me because they're in blue, but my sister's in blue. At the front of Noah's Ark, haven't they?
I remember seeing that,
from 1964, I want to say. It's one of the first colour photos that come about, and it's his colour. But then and there's some from the log flume at Alton Towers, I think, from the 80s when that was built as well, with me on there at school. So I've got all them photos somewhere. You just got to find them all, haven't you? Got more football photos, I think, probably.
Yeah, yeah.
Can I just go back to something though? I said about creators, about things but there are so many talented creators out there. I just wanted to put a note on that. And you are some of the stuff that you see with what people do, and they do loads of things different. Some of the drawings, some of them I saw recently. I can't remember the lad's name. He put something on social media the other day, what he did about Toxicator, I think it was.
Yeah, I've seen them.
Oh, fabulous, honestly, so good. So keep believing in yourself and your own talent, because you work hard in this world, you'll get somewhere.
Yeah, I think one really good example of that is how many different people sort of around 2020 seem to get involved with the coaster community, communities, let's say, where literally people were putting videos on, whether it be cinematics, POVs, anything, just different stuff, photography. And a lot of parks have picked those people up and are working with them.
Yeah.
And I think that if you are, not everyone wants to be a vlogger. No. I didn't want to be a vlogger. I still sometimes don't want to be a vlogger. I prefer filming the visual stuff, but I also know what works for a channel and what doesn't. And I think that I do enjoy filming coaster stuff, but I can't sort of say I'm going to do it to a cinematic level where you see other people doing it, but I'm fine with that. I know my sort of limitations with that. But I enjoy watching a good coaster visual, and I just enjoy watching like a park footage video or a cinematic video, and sometimes I will watch it and be like, I need to go to that park.
Yeah.
And I think that even though we're not YouTubers as doing this, we're not working for a park, we're independently putting these videos on, but sometimes as a creator, you could put an on-ride video, a rider cam, off-ride stuff, and you could put it on, and someone could watch it and go, I need to go to that park now. I need to go there. I've seen a video of it. I was the same with Valley Fair. Now, I know not a lot of people I say not a lot of people like this channel, but a lot of people like to not like this channel. Theme Park Review put a video on of Renegade at Valley Fair in 2007. I'd never heard of the park. And literally, I watched this POV and went, I need to go on that Woody. Like Renegade, it looks amazing. Finally went on it in 2022, and it was exceptional. And it's just like, I would have not known about that coaster if it hadn't have been for their POV. Yeah. I might have found it eventually, but the fact that I only went to Valley Fair because of that POV, people do that. They'll watch a POV and be like, oh, I need to go there. But what I will say on POVs, as former people who've worked on rides, please do it safely. Don't just take it on when the staff say you can't. It is dangerous. Yeah,
all that downtime on Rita.
Yeah.
It's usually due to something that someone's dropped.
We were talking about the smaller earlier. I always remember, I can't remember, I've got a picture of it somewhere. We was on the ride, me and Darcy, that's my daughter. For anybody who didn't know that. I don't know why I put that in for. That's my daughter. We was on the ride, and all of a sudden an iPhone whizzed past our head.
Yeah.
So someone was filming, and it was when we got off. We could they got the litter pickers, and somebody got it from out the staff member got it from out the thing. It was all mess.
Yeah.
And I just said, "That's your own fault, mate. You could have hurt somebody there as well."
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
And it's the thing though. It's like obviously if you're filming on a ride on a phone or a handheld GoPro, and you let go of it, the chances are is it's not going to go forwards. It's going to go backwards, and it's going to hit the person that sat next to you or the person who sat 6 rows behind you. And again, I think we mentioned this in another video we filmed earlier. Conda, Wallaby, Belgium, we were in the back row, and next minute this iPhone goes flying over our heads, and it's like, oh, that would have
To be fair, I ducked on that one. It was quite scary.
Okay, you can cause a lot of damage to people. You can cause a lot of damage to the ride.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? And then that rides down the rest of the day, and the park gets so much verbals because of what you've done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's like a recent example would be Wicker Man with the vape.
Yes.
Which was out there. Also, you've got, I've had Rita down for a couple of weeks due to a set of keys. Like thousands, the damage it can cause, thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds worth of damage to the ride. So, it's, ideally, you want metal detectors before you go on, because you shouldn't be going on with anything loose in your pocket.
Yeah.
Always zip pockets. If you don't have zip pockets, don't take it on. Put it in a locker. Buy a locker, because you've got to think, if you've got a phone with all your memories on there, do you really want to risk taking it on a roller coaster with an open pocket and losing it? So nowadays, I'd never take my phone on any rides, even if I've got a zip pocket. Just pop it in a bag and put it in a locker. Just be safe.
Yeah, I think I generally wear trackies or short. Well, any time from March onwards, I tend to wear shorts, so it just goes in a zip pocket. But if it didn't have a zip pocket, then absolutely no chance it'd be going on the ride. It's just, I always, even with a GoPro chest harness, there's always that, right, before I'm taking this on the ride, I need to check, is it all working? Are all the attachments on it working? Does the GoPro screw in properly? Yes. Is it safe? Now, literally, I will get it and I'll just sort of move it like that towards the floor. And obviously, you can't recreate the force of a roller coaster whilst you stood on a pathway. But once my GoPro is attached to the wrist mount or chest harness or whatever else, I will literally just do some movement with it to make sure that it isn't just going to fly away.
Definitely. I mean, like I said, like with zip pockets, I mean, I'm a great fan of the Napoleon pocket on the left chair. I always use one of those, but I think when we was at, was it Park Warner? The zip on my Napoleon broke for some reason. When they clip up and they just stop there, but for some reason it came down. I was like this all the way through, like this. Everyone thought I was holding my heart because the ride was that bad.
Sort of
some heart attack or something. But no, my phone was about to come out. So when we come off, I just got rid of it and went back on hour 14 rides.
the thing is, we didn't know, like when we bought the on-ride video, I didn't know his zip had broke. And then we're watching it back, I'm like, Craig, why are you going around like this? It's like, what do we need to take you to a doctor?
It's not, the zip didn't come open, but it was just coming down bit by bit. So I had to keep my hand there, hold the thing up. So.
The worst part is it was on that ejector airtime hill as well. After the top part.
Vamos.
So what would you say has been one of your, like, I won't say best memory because that's a difficult one, but what would you say like one of your best memories as being a coaster enthusiast?
I think as a parent, when Darcy went on Smiler for the first time, there's loads of photos of things. But as an enthusiast, there's so many. I mean, the one we had in Madrid was I've never experienced. I had an ERT for an hour and had a train each. There's 3 train ops. That's got to be up there. Hyperia with John.
Yeah.
How you doing, Johnny boy? Good friend of mine, John McGrillis.
I like John.
Yeah, he's a good lad. He is a good lad, lovely man. And the opening day, I mean, John was invited to there, obviously, because he's an actor, and I was his +1, and that was fabulous. Bumped into yourselves there. I mean, icon opening as well.
Yeah.
there's that many I could go through as a enthusiast. But I think the ice one for me was Cedar Point, the sunrise tour.
Yes.
And we did get a bit of sun actually. And that day,
20 seconds.
Yeah, but that morning it was hammering down. I'll never forget it. And I was just, I've come all this way, and it's been delayed. I mean, we booked it all on once in 2019. Was we due to go?
Yeah, we booked it in 19 for 2020.
Yeah, and it was cancelled obviously because of COVID. But then when I got up there and I said, I did have a moment, and I've never cried. That's a lie. I'm going to tell you something else in a minute. But I had a tear was there, and I had to swallow. I don't know whether Scott noticed or not, but I was on my own. I stood on them rails and just not grabbed on for dear life because I don't mind heights. I jump off anything, but with an harness, by the way, with an harness. But and I just looked around and I thought, I finally made it. I don't like the word enthusiast. I've never have done, but I'm a proper, not a proper enthusiast. That's wrong to say that because it's the word means so many other things. But I feel like that was for me was one of the pinnacles of
I know what
being
you mean.
a coast enthusiast for me because I've wanted to do it for so long.
Yeah.
Even though I missed out like on Top Thrill Dragster and and cleaned the car. And to be honest,
Top
this
Thrill
year,
2.
yeah, for this year as well, I was booked to go to Dubai. I missed out, but I wouldn't go because Formula Rossa wasn't open. So
And now it's open.
now it's open. But there you go. But what I did say about crying, and I'm going to go to Disney now with my family. The first time we went with Ellie and Darcy in 2018, just before COVID in 2019. And when we came away that night, we saw the fireworks. The what's the show called now?
They keep changing it.
The Happily Ever After.
The evening fireworks.
There's all four of us there. There's a photo of it, and you can see in my eyes. I've been crying, and I did. We all walked away from there and cried, and we all four of us cried together. My wife and my two daughters, and I just thought that was one of the most unbelievable experiences I've ever had at any park ever, and it always will be as a family man.
Yeah.
But so you've got probably that, and I mean I digress, and the sunrise tour.
Sunrise tour was
It
great.
was just brilliant. We had that moment the skies opened up. There's a bit of blue, and it just worked out perfectly. And we got up to the top. And
Sound like Peter Kay. Wrong accent for Peter
I haven't
Kay.
kicked nobody out the stand yet today.
No, that's true. Or mentioned garlic bread. We'll come to that later.
Yes.
But all week before the Sunrise tour, Craig and Matt were checking the weather every day. Oh, it's raining on that day. And every day I was like, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. It'll clear up. It'll be fine. And then we got to the day and it's like, it won't be fine. It was like, honestly, the rain was horrific.
It was horrific.
Like we were walking from a hotel to the park. And the worst thing as well is on the email, they got the time wrong.
Oh, yeah.
They told us to be there for 6 a.m. You had to be there for 7. So we rocked up at 6 a.m. It's throwing it down. So we're all stood outside the office getting absolutely soaked. No staff members. And we're like, what's going on? 6:30, staff member turns up. Park don't open till 10. Yeah, we're on the Sunrise tour. Oh, that won't happen today. And we're like, and then next minute, this staff member comes. You here for the Sunrise tour? Yeah. Right, we're doing it. We're like, hey, we're doing it anyway. Don't worry about the weather. We're like, right, let's go.
It was great. Tour. I mean, I'm always a positive person, but I did think that day it's not going to happen. But
no.
But we did, and there's a lad, Cooper, took us up to the top.
Was great.
Cooper, good lad.
Yeah.
I bet you guys enjoyed standing and admiring the cable mechanism of Millennium Force from under the station then that day, if it was raining that much, because it is dry there.
Yeah.
Got loads of photos underneath.
I was going to say, we stood under there or sat under there for the best part of 40 minutes waiting for the rain to pass, because we'd been up Valraven at that point, come back down, had a sing-song to Will.i.am and Britney. And then we got to Millennium Force, it started, heavens opened again, so it was like, oh, okay. So we just sat under there looking at the mechanisms and the wheels. It was good, it was fascinating. And the train kept going past empty, blowing smoke on us all. So we decided, and then when they sent it around with people on, we decided to stand there like animatronics. And just all stood there waving.
To be fair, you'd be studying somewhere you probably wouldn't expect anyone to normally be.
There were some people just sitting on the coast going, like, are you really supposed to be there?
But then they took us into the Maverick ride area, didn't they? Because obviously that was shut because of the rain. And then they let us go in the station, have a look at the control system. We couldn't take any photos of that. And we did ask if we could go and sit in Magnums, but they said no, didn't they? I was devastated.
But if anybody's ever thinking about doing that to her, do it.
Yes.
It's like everybody says about, oh, this is too much, that's too much. If something's worth that to you, somebody might buy a £100 coat, somebody might buy, I don't know, £500 pair of trainers. If you want to spend 150 quid on a coaster climb, just do it. You haven't got to justify it to nobody. Because these things are just unbelievable things to do. The Walk the Big One XL, we did that.
Yes.
And you've just got some fabulous photos on there, unreal. I think how many times we've walked the big one now? I've done it 3 times.
2015, 2017, 2018.
You done it, Stephen?
I haven't done the big one, but I have been up to the top of Valraven, and that's my kind of climb because you get to sit in a little box and it takes you up there.
5 times walk the big one. I've done.
But I think the one time I did it with Darcy, it was the golden hour, and it was unbelievable. We went up in the light. We got masks on, so it wasn't long after COVID. It was October time. So we went up in the light, got to the top, it was dark. Then they've switched the illuminations on, and that's just by timing luck.
Yes.
Blind luck. But that was unbelievable. That was.
Based on what we're talking about and a post that you put on socials the other day, if you could walk to the top of any ride now and send a train on it,
Yeah.
what would it be?
It'd be the smaller.
Yeah.
It would have to be. It'd have to be because it just then I'd be completed what.
Yeah.
You know, what started me off on this journey in the first place. You know, when in 2012, watching, I think the forums of it all, the washing machine element on Towers Times was unbelievably funny. I mean, are there that element to make it the world record? And it still is a world record breaking ride to this day. I know it gets a lot of, but like I said before, like to me, it's not about the ride. It's about the people who worked on the ride, as yourself, and a lovely young lady called Ellie, not my daughter. We know who Ellie is. Yeah. I think it was 2016 after the horrific moment in 2015. That industry then was, you know, on its backside, to say want of a better word, and you know, it was just they needed some cheering up, needed something to do, and that's when we met for the first time, wasn't it? Yeah. I was there every other week, I think.
Yeah, you're on a regulars, and I think it was quite refreshing to see you because at the time, a lot of people were not being very forgiving, and I was a part of the recommissioning team, so I was there pretty much all 2016, and it was really hard to hear some of the stuff that people were saying constantly. Yeah. So it was quite nice when you came and you with your friendly, you know, just we just needed to see that friendly face. Yeah. And to be fair, there were a few other people the same who would come regularly. So, but we really did appreciate it because it was a really hard time to get that back running again in 2016.
The parks are there for us, and we love them all.
Yeah.
And so, you know, we can critique, you know, but you know, we always wanted them to progress and get on. You know what I mean? And they've all got about cutbacks sometimes because, like, even my company are making cutbacks who I work for myself. So, you know, we just got to bear that in mind when we do critique these parks. You know, because they just want to move forward themselves. They don't want to close down rides. They don't want to close down these things and that things. But they're doing these things for a reason. For reasons we don't know.
Yeah. So if you could go to the top of any coaster, I know it's difficult for you because you've worked on them.
Yeah.
Still, from a technical side, if there's a ride you could operate. Yeah. I know that when we've been on Velocicoaster, you've been like, "Oh, I'd love to go in there."
Yeah, I'd love to see the controls and see what they look like in there.
That'd be a good one. That would.
Yeah.
For the modern control systems, I kind of want to do something a bit different.
Yeah.
I'd love to operate something like Big Dipper, just the whole mechanical side of it, because I've never done it like Oblivion's probably the most manual roller coaster I've worked on, because even though it is automatic still, but you can do quite a lot with Oblivion. It's a lot more manual controlled than you think. It has its automatic blocks, obviously, but you know, you can kind of open quadrants and you know, stop lift hills, and whereas with other coasters you can't necessarily have that same control. But with Big Dipper, you just get the big lever, and I'd love to just.
I feel like the levers and stop the train.
I like trains, and so I'd be like a signalman essentially. You big levers stopping the train, and I'd love to do that. For climbing a coaster though, I really would like to go to the top of something like Magnum, or you know, I think that would be a really good climb and a really good view from the top of that.
Can I change my mind now, please?
I was
going to say, what about yourself, Scott?
Yeah, it's very predictable, but I was going to say Magnum because whenever you sit in the back row on Magnum, if you look backwards, the view is sensational because obviously Magnum's quite far away from all the other big coasters. Yeah. So I'd love to stand at the top of there and not face Lake Erie, face the other way and just look at that skyline from a different perspective, because you get a bit of that when you're on Hotel Breakers car park.
Yes.
But imagine that from 200 foot up, looking at that park, because you'd see all of Gemini's layout, you'd see a great view of Millennium Force, you'd see Steel Vengeance, you'd see Maverick. Oh, can we do it?
Steel Vengeance, what a coaster.
It would be so good to go up there. And a funny story from Magnum, and you'll appreciate this being a ride up. We were doing, I don't think it was Coaster Mania, it was in 2022. And we jokingly said to the operator, "Have you got a button that makes a siren noise?" And they were like, "What do you mean?" So we went round again, and there's always an extra relief person, isn't there, on the Cedar Point ride. So this team leader was like, "I need to know what you're going on about," because obviously it was an arrow coaster. So I showed him a video of the big one with it going woo like that, and I showed him. He went, "Is that an arrow coaster?" I was like, "It's one of these." He was like, "Right, bear with me," and he's there looking at the control box going, "There isn't a button for us to. It's got a new system though, hasn't it?" Because I was like, "It's on the side."
I feel like Blackpool particularly need that because they do have to check their wind conditions a lot more than Cedar Point do, because very quickly in Blackpool, as you know, with the weather up there, it can be 1 minute nice and calm.
Yeah.
And then, within 10 minutes, gale force.
And the shutters are down.
Yeah, so I think that is more a Blackpool thing potentially. Yeah, maybe it was it on the Magnum originally?
Maybe. I know Vortex at Kings Island had it because the guy was messing with it. Because I was filming it and all of a sudden I heard, woo! I was like, that's a Pleasure Beach noise.
A lot of roller coasters actually have some kind of klaxon or alarm when starting them up to let people know that the ride is starting. Like Oblivion and Nemesis have them at Towers. I know, like on 13 and Rita, I used to do a PA before doing any kind of startup, so people know that there shouldn't be anyone in there. We've already checked the area, but just as a safety backup that people are aware. So
I've heard the Magnum one. It's great.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. It's got like a very futuristic voice on it and a big siren.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you know this, but if someone gets a phone out or a camera out on Magnum, they will stop it on the lift hill and go and get it.
I think it was stopped when we was there.
Yeah, and then obviously when they start it, they play the klaxon again. But what is annoying on that front is on our last day at Cedar Point last year, I spent the last 3 hours, I want to say, lapping Magnum.
You did, yes.
Yeah, it was good. And on the last ride, I want to shout out to Alan and Lara, by the way, who joined us for that. And we literally were on the last train and someone at the front took their camera out at the top. And when we come back to the station, they said, if the guy at the front hadn't taken his phone out, we were going to give you another ride.
Yeah.
And I was like, come on, just kick them off. But they made everyone get off. So it was really disappointing, but yeah.
Can I just say I didn't spend the last 3 hours on that ride. I mean, I like to feel young, but nah, that broke me.
I would have spent the 3 hours with you.
Yeah, I know.
I think I was on Still Vengeance with Matt.
Yeah,
Matt did actually help. I did have some bit of a damage to my face. Remember?
Yeah,
Matt was like, bang, he elbowed me in the face.
The side of your head. It was
lump
quite
on the side of
funny.
your head off, Matt. Cheers, Matt, for that.
Wouldn't have had any of these issues on Magnum, you see.
No,
Just,
it did knock some sense into me.
Just bruised thighs instead.
Yeah. That first ride. See, I nearly saw there. I don't sweat.
It was funny. Like I remember because Matt had said to me, "Where do I sit for the full experience?" It's like row three. It's got to be row three. So me and Matt did row 3, and Craig did front row, and there was no one in row 2 for some reason. I think Andy and Abby waited for front row as well. And we got to the brake run, and Craig just turned around and went, "What on earth is this ride?" He couldn't believe it.
But there's a thing there where you need to know how to ride a coaster.
Yes.
And throughout that trip, I don't know how many days was we there? It's 3. 4? I can't remember.
I just remember us racing to Ravine Flyer when you landed.
Oh, that was I did a 38-hour day then. There you go. That's old army training for you. But no, I just when everybody rips into these old coasts or whatever. It's like the Big Dipper. You don't ride the wheel seat.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
What I mean? So I found a way out of riding that coast that didn't hurt me as much.
Yeah.
You just find a way to ride them. You know what I mean?
What makes me laugh with Magnum is that people go on the big one and say, "I wish it had more airtime." Then people go on Magnum and go, "The airtime's painful." It's like, so which do you want?
Yeah.
Do you want the no airtime or do you want the airtime that's a little bit raucous?
Totally different both there. If you know what I mean. But I just find it was. After my initial shock of riding it for the first time, not the big one, Magnum, I found a way to ride it, and it was great, especially going for that tunnel at the end when you go up,
Yeah.
up, whoa.
Yeah, and then stop.
Yeah. Then just you know how to brace yourself.
Yeah, and then you see the other train going back past you on the lift hill.
Yeah,
It's like, they were quick with that one. But yeah,
Well, people should say all these rides should be comfortable. No, they shouldn't.
No.
No, they shouldn't. The Wild Mouse at Blackpool.
What a
What
ride.
a ride. There you go, what a ride. Honestly, my girls went on that and they absolutely adored that ride and they loved it. And it's such a raucous ride and 90-degree angles and it's just brilliant.
Do you know what
Absolutely
I liked
fabulous.
about that as well? When you went up the lift hill, being 6'1", and it's like, duck.
Yeah.
And then it's, again, mentioning theme park review, there's a video they did when you could film on the rides at Blackpool, and he's like, "Watch your head!" And they have to duck under it, and it's just like, what is going on? How did that thing exist for so long?
So roller coasters haven't got to be all smooth and glass fine, Some can hurt you a little bit. Little bit. You know what I mean?
I think if they were all smooth and too safe feeling,
boring.
it'd be a bit boring.
Bit boring.
I'd be bored of it really quickly. I think you've got to have that little bit of edge to it where you think,
Oh, God, yeah.
this might hurt a little bit. And yes, I am going to get thrown around in my seat, and that's what we want. We don't want to just sit there like we're in an armchair.
Don't get me wrong, the ones that rattle a bit. I mean, I've got huge lugs, if you notice, huge ear rolls. That hurt me ear rolls a bit. I'm not a big fan. I like when they rattle you like that all the while on your head. But but you just learn to ride it.
That's the thing. I think for me, I much prefer a ride with a lap bar.
Yeah.
Because even if it is a bit painful, you're not getting. If my head's getting smashed around on over the head restraint, that's when I draw a line with. Oh, it can be all right being a bit rough. But can I just say that all the people that say Coomber is rough? No, it's not. Not Busch Gardens.
It's not as rough as Dragon Khan.
Dragon Khan is brutal.
Well, when I last did Kumbo, it was fine.
Yeah.
What was the problem?
It's been okay when I.
Who says it's rough?
I put a POV of it on our Facebook page the other day, and I was just getting shouted at by people saying it's rough.
No, I had a great time. So
Yeah.
wherever I sat was fine. But the thing with particularly with B&M coasters, if that coaster's been left on the track for any amount of time, the wheels start to form and create a flat spot. So if they then send that, it is going to be rough. So if you're on one of those wheels that has gone flat, that'll be a rough ride essentially. So
Technical Steve doing his
So
thing
it's
again.
that geeking out then.
oh, sorry, yeah.
No, don't say sorry. We need the knowledge. I love the knowledge.
That's why, like on Oblivion and even on Cumber, there's the storage shed. There's enough space for all the vehicles, so that the wheels actually come off the track. So there's no weight on them overnight. Because if you leave them in one place, they kind of mould themselves to the track essentially.
So when we're doing Walk the Big One XL, needs to happen. We need to get Stephen on it, I think. Sorry, Steve. Oh, it is a Sunday, actually, that we're filming, so Stephen. So, we're going to end it there. Episode 5 or 6 of the Dispatch Podcast. I can't remember at this point. We've been chatting for so long.
7.
Do you know what?
That was timed perfectly.
It doesn't matter at this point, but Craig, it's been a pleasure.
It's been lovely to come on board and as officially as a YEG team member now.
Yeah,
so
you look good with the top on, mate. Yeah, absolutely.
So,
I know you both want a hoodie. I'll sort it out.
I'm looking forward to our first event, April the 5th.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I'll be there, handing out sweets as usual.
Good stuff.
And making sure you have a good day.
And celebrating 20 years of Rita at Alton Towers. So
Go, go, go.
Go, go, go indeed.
Yes.
So if you have enjoyed this podcast episode, please hit the like button. It's a little thumbs up below. Please subscribe to Your Experience Guide. Please comment. Many thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.